Good afternoon to everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being part of this. And this is a very, very exciting Tuesday we have here because we are within the realm of Parshas Lecha. And what's Parshas Lecha? Before we even begin what we want to say, just to appreciate that there's a uniqueness to this time, the Chedush Harim brings down from the Chayz of Lublin that the Chayz said that the difference from before this week's Parsha, this portion that we read this week of Lech Lecha, when Avram Avinu, our forefather Abraham, steps onto the scene, the difference between before this week and then this week for him, the Chayz, who was known to have very holy eyes, he says is the difference between night and day. Why? He said because once Avram comes on the scene, he lights up the world. He lights up the world with spirituality. We know what Avram did, the pioneer, the one who self-discovered monotheism, who found Hashem, who is really the founder of our emunah, our faith, what we believe in. This is what he told his children. This is what he told his students. It began right now. This is when the period of darkness of the world, so to speak, ended. And now the sun began to rise. And the formation of the Jewish people has begun with Avram Avinu. And that's what he says, that this week is like a difference. And the Chedush Harim says that just like Hashem told Avram, Lech Lecha, go, begin your journey, and then I will show you later where you're going, which was going to be to Eretz Yisrael, to the land of Israel. So Chedush Harim says it's for every one of us to take from this parsha, that if we decide we're going to get up and go at it, we're going to go on our journey, even if we don't even know where to go or how to get there. If we say we're going to do what we can to begin, then we will have that light that comes out of this parsha from Avram Avinu, from Hashem, who says, Ela Oretz Asher Areka, I will take you to your destination if we begin the journey. So this week in particular, there's a feeling in the air. The air is crackling with a sense of mission, a sense of purpose, a sense of go out there and let's go get it. And that Abraham, the first to go out there, march in this unique way, who set the stage and blazed the trail for all of us, his children. It begins in this parsha. The world is lit up this week, and every one of us can tap into that and begin our journey. And with that sense, I want to tell you something that occurred to me, is that unbelievable what we're going to see, just so beautifully incorporated into the psukim of this parsha, fundamental concepts that Nissan Shalom is going to remind us about. But a thought occurred to me this past Shabbos, and I view this as almost the backdrop to the attitude that we're going to go into this class with. And it occurred to me, we're at the beginning of the Torah. These are the Parshas, Bereshis, Noach, Lech Lecha, Vayera. These are the first. Now you imagine Hashem is giving a book that's going to be the handbook of life and success and growth and closeness with Him. And it occurs to me, if you're writing a book that's going to give over the secrets of what it means to be a great individual, the first things, what you choose to write in that book first, those must be laying the groundwork for everything else that comes in that book. There must be something about that beginning that is so integral and so essential that it made its way to the beginning of your book that you want to give to everyone. As I was thinking, what is it about this series of Parshas, of Torah portions? What is it about them that we can say is the bedrock, is the basic charter, the mission statement, and the guiding light for every Jew going forward from these weeks forward? What is it? And it occurred to me so simple, and I want to tell it to you as follows. This is just my thought. We have these parshas. It starts with Bereshis, where Hashem created the world. We have Noach, the flood. Then we have Lech Lecha, here Avram leaving his hometown. And then we have Vayera, where we know Avram sitting outside his tent, and Hashem appears to him. And I would like to say the allusion as follows, what Hashem is telling us. What Hashem is telling us in these stories, of course, He's telling us so much. But a fundamental starting point that He wants to give us over right away in the beginning is that these parshas, what occurs here in these first 4 parshas, is the basic guide, the map, the direction and the attitude we have to have in order to become great. And it's as follows. Bereshis. The Torah starts with Bereshis. What is Bereshis? In the beginning what? Hashem created a world. The first thing every one of us needs to hear and see from the Torah is that we are here to do something. We are here to create a world. We are here to impact. We are here to grow. There are unbelievable achievements, such as creating the entire universe, that we need to do with our lives, that we have the capability of doing. So the first thing Hashem tells us is a parsha about creating, how He created the universe, that there's a beginning, that every one of us needs to get up and we need to begin. We need to begin realizing that we're here to create a universe, something unbelievable, transformative in ourselves and the world around us. This is no time to sit back. This is no time to sit on the couch. This is not halftime. This is the main event. Bereshis, there is a universe to be created. Every one of us needs to get up and create. But then we move on. Noach, the flood. And I believe here Hashem tells us the next piece of priceless advice. Hashem says, I started a project called the world. And it had a goal for people to become great. What happened to that project? The same thing that might happen to you. Because you're going to hear this and you're going to say, I want to go out there and do it. I have a project, a mission. I'm going to sign up for the 5 minutes of Mesilas Yesharim. I'm going to watch the class. I'm going to begin to change. I'm going to start. And you begin. You want to. You're inspired. You want to create. But so often happens a setback. And the world we attempted to create crumbles. And at that point, we don't have the strength. We just want to throw in the towel. Rabbi, I tried. I really did. I gave it a good shot. I want out. And I think we all feel that way sometimes. It didn't go. It's not going to go. And I believe to that Hashem said, look at the second portion. Noach. I too began a project of creating a universe for greatness and individuals to rise and become holy. And look what happened. It fell apart. But look what I did. I didn't close up shop. I didn't say goodbye to earth and the project is over. Hashem says, what did I do? I picked up the pieces. Noach, his family, a few good people, a few good animals, whatever scraps were left. And I began the project again. I pushed for the goal again. And that's the second thing we need to know. That when we go for it and it falls on its face and it falls apart, pick up the pieces like Hashem did and begin the world again. Begin your universe again. Begin your climb for holiness again. And just like in that parsha, there was just one crumb left, one good Jew, Noach and his family. But really, Noach above all, just one, a few. But from that, the entire world as we know it, with all of the Torah study, all of the mitzvahs, it all came from what? That one crumb that was left. So to every one of us. If it falls apart, you pick up the crumb, you pick up the pieces, you pick up the sparks, and you begin again. And from those sparks, an entire universe will be created. If we keep at it, we will succeed. Hashem taught us that as the second lesson of the Torah. And then comes our parsha, Lech Lecha. March, keep on marching. Because after we get our project, our vision for life to be successful, then we run into the next challenge, which is to stagnate. We did it. We got it. I became somebody who keeps Shabbos. I became more religious. I became somebody who studies more. That's it. I set up the good things that I was trying to set up. And now I just let it sit there. And it begins to stagnate. And then, of course, we know you're either going up or you're going down. The Vilna Gaon said that. You're either going up or down. And if we let it stagnate, then we know that we're going to start to recede backwards. And therefore, the third lesson is, Hashem says, even now that you picked up the pieces, you started again, and it's working. Lech, Lecha. Don't forget to keep on going. Don't lose the momentum. Don't stop where you are. Don't get satisfied. Celebrate it. And then take another step. Lech, Lecha. Never stop going. And if we take those three lessons to heart, that we are here to create a universe. If it falls apart, get back up and keep going. Those sparks can give birth to a whole new world. And when we accomplish, Lech Lecha, keep on going, keep on growing. Then we hit the fourth parsha, Vayera Elav Hashem, and Hashem appeared to him. With those first three attitudes, we will be able to see Hashem in our lives, connect to Hashem in our lives, and have the presence of Hashem, that sense of growth and closeness with us throughout our entire lives. From those first three lessons, we end up with Vayera Elav Hashem. And to me, that was an unbelievable illusion that occurred to me this past week. From the first four Torah portions, the first four things Hashem tells us, He was giving us the basic groundwork for how to grow, how to be holy, how to be a Jew, how to accomplish our dreams. Create, recreate, never stop growing. And that's how you find Hashem. So this is the Parsha. This is the Parsha that calls to every one of us. Keep on marching, accomplish great things. This is the beginning of the Torah that tells us how to become all that we can become. So we look at Avram's life. We say, okay, Avram's the first, right? And you open up our parsha, Lech Lecha. The first things. This is, by the way, Avram is not a young man in the beginning of this parsha. Lech Lecha, go from your home, from your land, is the first thing he hears from Hashem. And then Nesiv Shalom says, okay, we got Avram. He's the first man. We know this parsha. We know where we are. This is where it's happening. This is where we see the mission statement of every one of us. Like I'm saying, we see a buildup of these parshas. We're ready. Hashem's giving us, He's laying the groundwork, the guiding path. Here it is. Avram, march from your birthplace, from your home, from where your father is. What is that telling? Why is that the integral first words that Hashem tells to Avram Avinu? What's it saying? And of course, we already said it's telling us to never stop growing, never stop marching. But then Nesiv Shalom says an incredible understanding of what these words are saying. And this is going to talk to every one of us, because after we hear and we remind ourselves that we have all of this greatness to accomplish, and that we got to keep going and never stop. So often we look at our lives and we say, I'm really not sure that Hashem got all this right. I love the idea you're saying about the world and the purpose of my life, but when I look at my life, it's not jiving with what you're talking about. So many aspects of my life seem random, peripheral, or even worse, negative. What are my marching orders exactly? What is this voracious creator world you're talking about? What are you exactly saying I should do with the life I have? And I want to just read these stunning words from the Nesiv Shalom. Never ever forget these words. They're just so beautiful in what he tells us here. says these are the first words that Hashem told Avram Avinu. And he says they are meyesoidei haTorah. They are from the fundamental foundations of the Torah. These words, and listen to what they are. Zehu ma she'omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu la'Avram Avinu. This is what Hashem was telling Avram when he said, remember the pasuk, right? He said, Lech Lecha, me'artzecha, u'mimoladetecha, u'mibeis avicha. Go, leave, go from your land, from your birthplace, from the house of your parents. And this is what he says, from your father's house. This is what he was saying. Lech Lecha. Lech means go. What's Lecha? Go for you. Rashi says it means go for you. Lecha, what is Lecha? Lech Lecha does it mean for you. You see, Hashem says it doesn't mean for you. This is how you read it. Lech Lecha. Go Lecha to you. For you, for your purpose. Listen to the words. El hayiyud shelcha. Go to your mission. Your purpose in this world. Lech Lecha. Avraham. This is what life's about. Like we said, Bereshis, the first thing Hashem says. You're not here to lounge, drink coffee, sip a martini. Those are beautiful things. Do them, enjoy them. But that's not why you're here. Lech Lecha. Go to become you. Go be the you I know you're meant to be. Go be the you that has a mission that's lofty and holy and great and elevated. Lech Lecha. El hayiyud shecha. To your vision, your mission, the greatness that's yours. Lech Lecha. Avram, go. This is what life's about. Lemano yeredes lo'olam. Go to find the thing that you were sent into this world to be. The universe you were sent here to create. The holiness you were meant to imbue it into the world. Now here's this unbelievable words. This is unbelievable what God said. So he said, Lech Lecha, go. What he meant was go become as great as you could become Avram. But then how do you read the next part of the pasuk? From your birthplace, from your father's house. Listen to what he says. Lazet tagia, the greatness that you're marching towards. Avram, your mission to become the great forefather, Abraham, Avram, the father of the Jewish people. That great holy person you're trying to become. Do you know where you're going to get the tools to become that? How are you going to fulfill your mission in this world? With what? Listen to what Hashem said. Ulazet hagia. You're only going to reach this. Delfka. From what? From the next words in the Parsha. Lech Lecha. Go become you. From what? Me'artzecha. From the circumstances that is your life, those are there to get you to become the great Abraham. What? Well, where's Abraham come from? His father was literally an idol worshiper, craftsman, salesman. How could that be the background for Abraham, the monotheist, the father of the Jewish people, the one that discovered Hashem? No. That's what Hashem was saying. That you're going to say, I'm going to go do my mission. And then you're going to say, wait, where's the tools? Hashem, you threw me out of the plane. You didn't give me a parachute. Where's the tools? How am I supposed to climb the mountain? I don't see the pick. I don't see the backpack. Where's the rope? You're trying to kill me? No. Lech Lecha. Go become you. I did give you the tools. Your home, your parents, your birthplace, your friends, your skills, and your handicaps. Those are the tools to reach your mission. And listen to the words he says. He says, how could this be? Avraham, Shor b'mivcha shenoisa be'artzcham eladram be'esavicha b'mekoymos koy shefolim. Avram comes from the lowest places. the most impure people, the most wayward and distorted individuals. That was his background. And therefore, says Hashem Shalom, that's why this is a fundamental concept. Hashem said is the first thing I need to tell you, Avram. The first thing I need to tell the Jewish people is you've got it wrong. What looks backwards to you is not backwards. This is what Hashem was saying. Lech Lecha liyudcha. Go fulfill your mission. Dafka me'artzecha. Specifically from what I gave you. Those are the tools. From all of these places which are the source of all tumah, all impurity, all lowliness. Misham, from there, Hoya Avram Avinu Misugal. Avram Avinu was specifically set up in the most advantageous way for himself. To reach all of the lofty levels, which were ready for him and prepared for him. Unbelievable what we're saying. He's looking at his life and he's saying, my background is the opposite of what I want to become. And Hashem is saying to every one of us, the things that you see as derailing you are the exact fuel. It is specifically from interacting with, dealing with, battling back against those things that you will become the great you're supposed to become. And what he's saying is that if Avraham had not come from Terach, the idol worshiper, he never would have become Avraham. That growing up in that home, which was such a challenge, the fact that he had to wrestle with that, that's what made him become Avraham. And for all we know, the very fact that he saw his father so devoted to worshiping somebody is what inspired him to worship and look to worship anyone. So it's not even just the bad. In that background that you want to just label bad, good, Hashem's saying you don't know what you're talking about. It's all your tool bag. Everything I gave you is your tool bag. From those places, no matter how low they look, they are how you will become who you want to become. And everything in life, this is the basic perspective that we need to internalize. The light of Avraham, what Hashem told Avraham, he's telling every one of us. And the truth is, this is really rooted in what Avraham brought to our people, which is emunah. Like the Baal HaTanya writes, you know what Avram taught Yitzchak? You know what he taught his students? That there is a Hashem. What does it mean that there is a Hashem? It means there's one Hashem who runs everything. That our whole lives are designed, and they're designed perfectly. Well, what does it mean to design my life perfectly? Well, what are we here for? Hashem said, I'm sending you here to become great. Well, then, what is everything else in my life doing? It must be. If we have the emunah, let's use this week to internalize the perspective of Avraham, that he realized Hashem runs everything. And that we need to look back and hear what Hashem is telling Avraham. No matter what is happening in your life, I'm telling you, it's part of your tool bag. It's part of your tool chest. It's part of what's there to help you get to the place you're supposed to get to. And that's that emunah when we know everything Hashem does, like we like to say here in Memphis. Hashem has a plan, and the plan is good. Hashem has a plan. Everything that's happening is planned. It's orchestrated. Hashem did it. And every one of those things is to help us climb to the next rung, the next level. And there's Avram looking at his father, the idol worshiper. And lo and behold, if not for that experience, he wouldn't have become Avram. That's what made him. Sometimes that means fighting against it is what makes it. Sometimes it means learning lessons from it. And usually it means both. It means both. All the things in our lives. The good, the parib, the things that you don't even view as vehicles to connect to Hashem, if it's in our lives, it's for the good. And the only real good that we're here for is to become close to Hashem. So if it's in your life, it's part of it. It's part of your superpowers to become you. That's what it's there for. And that's why you got that and not the other person. Because you got to become you. Like we said last week. Noach's got to be Noach. We've got to be us, and every one of us has our unique mission that nobody else has, and therefore we have unique life circumstances because the lives we have are tailor-made to get us to that goal. Listen to these words of the Psikta Abbasi. Just to give us a sense, I read it, I actually smiled almost from reading it, just because the perspective it has. Listen to the words. We realize everything in life, everything is part of our tools, part of what gives us the capability to connect with Hashem and to become who we're supposed to become. And listen to what it says. Kaved es Hashem mehoincha. The pasuk in Navi says, honor Hashem with what you have. Honor Hashem with whatever He gave you. Nissan Lecha ben. He gave you a son. Maloisai. Give him a bris. Circumcise him. Nissan Lecha bias. He gave you a house. Put a mezuzah on the house. He gave you a roof, a porch. Put a fence on it. These are mitzvahs, right? He gave you a yard. That's what He says. He gave you a yard. It's put a sukkah in your yard. He gave you sheep. Then separate the firstborn. He gave you animals. Then don't let them do an avera. Use them the appropriate way. Keep the species separate. He gave you money. Do a mitzvah with them. Give charity. Kabed es Hashem mehoincha. Honor Hashem. Honor Hashem. Mehoincha, from everything you have, from everything Hashem graced you with, that you can honor Hashem from everything. And the words of the Yalkut Shemaini, She'im Hoya, this is what it says over there. It's on that same pasuk. Honor Hashem with everything you have. That everything you have is a tool, is what your unique capabilities are about. You have a yard, boom, you can put a sukkah. You have a door, boom, you can put a mezuzah. That sense. You have sheep, boom, there's a mitzvah to do. Money, there's a mitzvah to do. Everything. You look at your life, everything you see. You have a car, you have a house. Everything you own is there as part of your tool chest, part of your ability, Lech Lecha. Go be you. How? Me'artzecha. From everything in your life. From the circumstances of your life. That's why I gave you those things, Hashem says. They are your ticket. As the Yalkut Shemaini says, She'im haya kol chanah, you have a beautiful voice. Avar lifnei hateva. Honor Hashem by leading the davening, the services at Shul. I just said to somebody this morning, I said, would you like to lead us? So he said, oh, I guess so. And I don't seem to have a choice or something. There was no one else around. I went over to him after davening. I said, not I guess so. Not I don't have a choice. Look what it says here. You have a nice voice. You can honor Hashem by leading davening. Did you ever, this fellow, okay, I have to, no, not I have to go up. I'm stuck going up. Why did Hashem give me a voice? So that I can go up and lead the services. That's why I have it. So that I can honor Him and grow close to Him and bring other people close to Him with that voice. That voice is not random. You don't happen to have a nice voice. You don't happen to have a car, a home, a money, yard. You have these things because they're your ticket up. Kabed es Hashem mehoincha. Serve Hashem with what He graced you with. Because what He graced you with, why is it called gracing you? Because it's a gift so that you could become you. Lech Lecha, go be the great you could become from exactly what I gave you. And then there's another side to it. The challenges. If there's anyone to represent challenges, Avram Avinu, the famous 10 trials, the 10 tests that he went through. What's that telling us? It's telling us that it's not just from the good and the beautiful. It's not from the good voice and the money and the sheep. But it's also from not having money and not having the yard and not having the good voice. That those situations are also the ticket to becoming who we're meant to be. Like Abraham, who had to wrestle with the fact that he grew up among people that denied Hashem and believed in idols. That is what helped create him. The fact that Lech, Lecha, he had to walk away from that. That's what made him become Abraham. If he didn't walk away from that, if he didn't have to muscle through that challenge, he never would have become Abraham. Like the Ramban writes, the reason Abraham was so beloved to Hashem was not because of the mitzvahs that he did, but because of the challenges he overcame. The challenges above anything else were what truly shaped him into the great individual. And the Moranayim says every one of us, every single Jew on earth, has our 10 challenges. 10 big challenges. And of course, we all know from our lives, we've got lots of little ones too. But the way to look at them is with the emunah of Avraham. They're not an accident. It's not your annoying neighbor who's annoying you. It's not the guy behind you who wasn't looking that crashed into your car. It's not your boss's fault who fired you that you don't have money. That's not what's really going on. It's Hashem. It's always Hashem. Hashem runs the whole world. Hashem runs everything. And if he's making that happen, if he's making that person crash into us, if he's making us end up short on money right now, if he's making us have the difficulties, they may be difficult. I'm not trying to say they're not difficult. But through those difficulties, we become Avraham Avinu. We become the great Lecha, Lech, Lecha. That's how we become who we're supposed to become. Those are the moments that we are dearest and most beloved by Hashem. That Hashem sends us those trials to make us who we're meant to become, as only Hashem has the vision to see. And He sends those our ways, and we would never ask for them. And we're allowed to ask that Hashem take them away. That's part of the growth that we have through the experiences that we connect with Hashem to ask Him for help. But those challenges, the having to get through them, the learning lessons from them, the connecting with Hashem through them, the trying to hold on to our connection to Hashem during them, all of those moments of challenges, they are what created Abraham. And to every one of us, Lech Lecha, Hashem said, go. Those very words were one of Hashem's challenges. When Hashem said, go, become the great you, He was saying a challenge because Abraham had to go. He had no support. Because this moment of challenge and the becoming you are one and the same. As the words of the holy Mesilas Yesharim that we'll never stop quoting. I hope everyone's doing 5 minutes a day. Shameless plug. Listen to the words of the Mesilas Yesharim right in the beginning. Nimtzeidu lemeidim, he says. We learn from what I just said, we understand. Ki ikar metzias ha'adam ba'olam. The main reason a person exists in the world. Ba'olam hazeh, in this world. Why do we exist? Here it is. I'm going to tell you the words of the Mesilas Yesharim. Why do we exist? Here it is. You were wondering? I'll tell you. Hu rak, it is only for this. Lekayim mitzvahs. To do mitzvahs. V'la'avoid. To worship Hashem. Not every time is it an actual commandment, but there's so much we do in our day that we could still connect to Hashem. That's to worship Him all the time. And what's the third thing? To stand up to the tests, to withstand the challenges. Those challenges, those very challenges we have, they are what make us who we are. Like the Mesilas Yesharim writes in his other Sefer, the Derech Hashem, unbelievable paragraph, and I'll read it to you in English. He says, the purpose of person in the world is to help good overcome evil. That's what we are in this world. The world is filled with good and evil, and only mankind, who's a composite of both, body and soul, we're the ones that could uplift the whole world. We're the ones that could bring good into existence. We're the ones who could shape ourselves into holiness. And he says, but for every situation, there's a different element of good and evil. And he gives an example. If there were no rich and poor people, there'd be no chance for a person to have mercy and not be cruel. For there to be that option of good and evil, there has to be rich and poor. But he says, but then within that, but the rich person himself is also tested with his wealth, whether he will be cruel to the poor person or have mercy. And the poor person, each person differently, and the poor person is also tested, whether he will be content with the little he has or thankful to Hashem for what he has. The wealth is a test to the rich person, whether he will become proud and haughty or be able to be humble. The poor person has their challenge. Every person, every situation poses its challenge, and that challenge is what life is all about when we choose good over evil. And then listen to what he says. Hashem, the supreme wisdom, divided all of these types of tests among the individual people in this world, as his deep counsel found to be fitting and proper. And it comes out that each and every individual has their specific portion of tests and challenges, and the fight with the evil inclination that is their specific assignment that they endure and carry in this world. And their actions will then be judged by Hashem. And behold, like the servants of a king that stand ready to do his bidding. And among all of them, they all stand there ready to do the job that the king gives them. And among all of them, when they all do it, they fulfill the work of the kingdom. Each worker doing their part. And the king therefore divides a portion to each one of them. They don't overlap. They don't do the same. And then each of them gets paid for accomplishing their goal, even if it's different than the other goal. But they accomplish their goal. They get paid for that. It says, so too it is with Hashem. He divided up the challenges and the accomplishment of this world, of making good conquer evil, of choosing holiness over impurity, of choosing God over everything else. That challenge, that choice, that elevation of life, ourselves and the world around us, is apportioned, piecemeal, parsed out to every single individual. And every one of us is carrying part of that mantle, part of that mission. And then like he ends, but why each of us got the portion we got is beyond human comprehension. Only Hashem understands why he gave each of us the task that he gave us. But that the challenges of life, the wealth, the poverty, the good voice, the bad voice, the good health, the bad health, every part of it, whether we can wrap our minds around it or not, is there to challenge us and give us the stage upon which we can rise, climb, and shine. And that's the way we need to look at the world around us. Those are the eyes of Avraham, the eyes of Emunah, that I believe Hashem, everything you're doing is leading me to you. Like the Medrash says, that Avraham went around, everywhere he went, he saw a castle that was illuminated. And the Chidush HaRim says, what that means is everywhere he went, he saw that everything was running towards one place. Everything was running towards becoming great. And perhaps he means like what we're saying. That Avram looked around and with the eyes he saw, everything is leading us towards Hashem. There's nothing that's not. From having a father as an idol worshiper, from being thrown into a fire, from having his wife abducted. All these horrible, horrible experiences he had. And then all the good. The kindness he was able to give to others. The fact that he found people inspired by his teachings. All of it. And everything in between. He saw it's all just leading to one castle. to Hashem's illuminated, beautiful castle. He had the eyes, the faith, the emunah, the understanding that there's one Hashem running it all, and it's all running towards one point, back to Hashem himself. And with that, the Nesiv Shalom says, it was with that vision, that ability to see that and realize that Avram had the ability to tap into and utilize his whole life to reach his goal. From that understanding, the very first words Hashem told him, Lech Lecha, go become you. How? From your life. From everything in your life. That's what it's there for. So I gotta say a thank you. I hope the person I'm about to say thank you to doesn't hear this class. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to my roommate. I won't say when, so that it won't be clear to whoever listens to this who it is. I want to thank my roommate that used to come into the room and not care that I was sleeping, and he used to be loud and noisy. I want to thank my roommate that used to come into the room and not care whether other people were cold. He used to open the windows and make everyone freeze. I want to thank him. Do you know why? Because it was during that time that I had him as a roommate that I learned how to not get frustrated. How to not get frustrated at somebody who wasn't being sensitive to you. It was during that time that I grew a certain part of myself. You say it was a disaster. I felt it was a learning experience. Hashem was saying, Lech Lecha. Go become you. Figure out how to deal with this. I want to thank Hashem for the years that I was in the difficulties of dating. The dating that's done through a matchmaker, and you meet a person just trying to meet to get married, and sometimes you could have a lot of frustration when you just can't find your wife. I want to thank Hashem for those years, because in those years, in those challenges, I felt I became a different person. I feel I'm only who I am today because of those years. In fact, I remember Rabbi Fromowitz and I were learning in yeshiva at that point. We were good friends. He had gotten married considerable time before me. And I once went over to him and I say the dating was painful. It was difficult. I went over to tell him that despite the difficulty of it, this is what I feel is amazing growth that's happening during this time. And I began to sit there talking to him and tell him it's just incredible what the challenges are causing to happen inside of me. The growth, the self-discovery, who I'm becoming. And I said to him, dating, if you could survive it, it makes a great person out of you. And Rabbi Fromowitz looked at me at that point, and I remember because he's a great man, so he said this. He said to me, Shuki, you're making me wish I was still dating. And let me tell you something, when you're dating, all you wish for is that you find the right one. He was married. He said, you're making me wish I was still dating. Why? Because when we tap into this feeling, when we have the vision of Avram, and we see the challenge for the gift that it is, it could be hard, it could be difficult, but that it's not an accident. It's bringing us to our destination. Then you can almost wish that you could experience the transformation and growth of that experience. And if you have it, what you have in life, the good you have in life, celebrate. Of course, celebrate it, because that is part of it. And the challenges too. And I want to thank Baltimore too. Because before I was in Memphis, I was in Baltimore. And in Baltimore, there was a Rabbi Goldberger, and I was part of his show. And this was not a challenge, but that Hashem sent me into that situation, into the life of Rabbi Goldberger. He was an old friend of ours. But we moved there, and because of that, he began to encourage me to give classes in his shul, to run different events. And that also tapped a part of myself I didn't even know I had, certain strengths I have. Would I have decided to go there? Would I have ever known that that would uncover a part of myself? No. But Hashem knew, and He sent me there. Would I have known that the challenges of dating would uncover something? No, but Hashem knew. He sent me there. Did I know that that one roommate would help me become a good person? No, but Hashem knew. He sent me there. And I have to thank Hashem for sending me to Memphis. Because Memphis too is a step in my journey to become who I'm supposed to be before I leave this world. We are all here. Every one of us who's here is here for a reason. There's a reason we're here. There's a reason we have the people in our lives we have, and the boss we have, and the challenges we have. It's all to get us to who we're meant to become. And there's a very practical side of this emotionally. And that is, we need to stop fighting our life. We always got it. Of course, we always try and improve and change, but not fight it. Fighting it is when you can't make peace with it. That comes from a perspective where we forget that Hashem's running it. And even though I don't know how, I don't know why, trust me, I have no idea. But even Corona, COVID, is here to bring every one of us to the next rung on the ladder of our personal greatness. I don't know how. I'm not a prophet. But I know for sure that that's what it's doing here. Our dealing with the struggle, our dealing with the challenges, our reflecting on what maybe Hashem is telling us, all of that, all of the parts of it, the good, the bad, and the confusing, is only here to get us to that illuminated castle that Avram saw everywhere he went. It's all part of what's carrying us forward. We need to stop fighting it. We need to embrace it. We need to realize Hashem has a plan. The plan is good. He's steering us in the right direction. And then we need to look at the situation instead of fighting it, instead of being bitter about it, to say, what does Hashem want me to do with this? Where does Hashem want me to go with this? What's the goal here? What's the mission? And that's the view of every part of life. And I remember once I was hearing two people talking about marriage, and one of them said, I learned from my parents who had a beautiful marriage what marriage is. Ah, so beautiful. The other person there, their parents had been divorced. You may say, they didn't have that. But then they said, and I learned from my parents what not to do in marriage. Two opposite backgrounds. And both of them felt they had gleaned wisdom and the tools to march forward from two opposite backgrounds. And that's the truth with every single one of us. And we need to embrace it. We need to stop fighting it. We need to view like you imagine Noach on the teva. Can you imagine? Rabbi Lech Biederman said this. They sent it out. Can you imagine Noach being upset that he's on the boat and he's got to take care of all these animals? Well, I wish I wasn't on this boat. I wish I wasn't stuck. You think Noach thought for 1 second, I wish I wasn't on this boat? That boat is saving your life. That boat is your ticket through the storm. That's the everything. That's your ticket to your future. You can't wish you don't want to be on the boat. As Milo Biederman said, that's the same truth with every situation in your life. That's your boat. That's your ark. Hashem sent that to get you to where you need to get to. So how could you wish to not be on the boat? Of course, it doesn't mean it's not challenging. That challenge itself is what's going to make us reach our destination. But let's embrace it. Let's embrace it and realize that somehow wrapped up in the situation is the tools we need, the experience we need to become the great person we're meant to become. To recognize that Hashem runs everything, every situation, and that we are on the right course. We're getting there. Every day, every experience is taking us a step closer. And in truth, if we really had the eyes to see that, we could, not saying we're on that level, we could dance to it. Dance about your annoying friend, your annoying neighbor. Dance about the difficulties, because you could celebrate them knowing that they are getting us to where we want to go. Every step, and I realize we say in the morning, Ashreinu ma tov chalkeinu, it's in the davening. Ashreinu ma tov chalkeinu, we say, Hashem, how lucky we are. Sha'anu mashkimim u'ma'arivim. And these are puzzling words. They translate it to say, we get up in the morning and we go to shul at night. And we say twice every day, Shema Yisrael. Listen, Hashem, listen, Jews, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. And I realized that the words, they don't mean go to shul. It doesn't say that. And I thought perhaps an allusion in those words. We say, Ashreinu ma tov chalkeinu, God, Hashem, thank you. Thank you. For what? Sha'anu mashkimim. For the fact that we have mornings, umarivim, and that we have evenings, we have darkness. Thank you, Hashem, for the mornings, the glorious mornings, the tools, the good things that are in our lives. Umarivin, thank you for the evenings, the dark times, the struggles, the handicaps, the shortcomings. Thank you. Because I know that it's only through those things that I become who I'm supposed to become. Like it continues. And in both situations we say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. There's only one God. And I know that I'm marching to Him. And I know He gave me this to get close to Him. That every one of us, in every situation, Ashreinu ma tov chalkeinu, thank you Hashem, Sha'onu mashkimim u'marivim, that we have mornings and we have nights, thank you. In every one of those circumstances, I will get up and I will scream from the rooftops, and I will get up and I will sing with my heart and soul, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. That Hashem is the one behind all this. I have the emunah, the faith, the vision of Abraham. There's only one Hashem. There's only one guiding force in my life, and it's only getting me to one place, to Hashem Echad, my one God, my loving God, my beloved God. Lech Lecha. To every one of us, let's hear the words of Hashem calling to us. Lech Lecha. Go become you. Become as great as you can become. How? From the tools I've given you, the life I've given you, the circumstance I've given you, everything, the good and the challenges, they are all there to get you back to my palace. With that, we can have the vision that Avram had to rise, to even dance, and to be able to say, thank you, Ashreinu, how lucky we are. Sha'anu mashkimim u'ma'arivim. And we could call out with our heart and soul, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. May Hashem bless every one of us with the light of Avram Avinu, with the vision of direction, with the joy and the energy and the stamina to be able to process all of life with these eyes, with this perspective, so that we may reap the tremendous reward, benefit that every circumstance offers us, so that we may use every moment to run ever closer, ever higher into the palace and the embrace of Hashem, our holy King. Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one.